Welcome to Running Wild. I'm Coach Wild. So glad that you could join us today. Today I am going to talk to you about setting SMART goals because my wife loves SMART goals, as well as beginning of a new year. We had the first day of my team's indoor track practice, so needless to say, I'm pretty darn excited. I was able to get outside and run before all the wind started really howling. Got a storm that's coming over in our area, so hopefully that doesn't throw too much chaos into our season as well as my own personal running. But that being said, let's go ahead and let's get started. First of all, for those of you that have ever tried to do any type of goal setting, those goals should be SMART. Now, if any of you have gone to school and you kind of know what I'm talking about, you know that SMART is an acronym for some parameters on how you're supposed to set your goals. So that S is specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is realistic, and T is kind of like time-based, time-sensitive. There's a time frame. So we need to make sure that our goal is specific. It's talking about something very particular. We don't want broad, like, hey, I want to do better tomorrow than I did today. That's a great goal, but when we're trying to set actual goals, we're trying to achieve something, it's not really where we want to go. So next is M, which is measurable. Now, measurable, whether by time, place, amount, volume, whatever that is for your goal, make sure it's got something measurable. Next, it needs to be achievable. So how can we achieve it? When do we achieve it? But also, is it actually possible? Yeah, we want to go out there and we want to try to go big, but we also want to make sure that it's something that we actually can do in the time frame that we're about to choose. So make sure it's not like, for me, I don't want to go out and say I want to score 7 touchdowns because I don't really do anything where I can score 7 touchdowns. My goals need to be a little bit more running oriented because that's what I'm actively participating in. That also follows the parameters of kind of like making sure it's realistic in the means that we can also put it into other things. Time-based needs to be time frame in some way, whether by the end of the season, this month, this year, or the next time I toe the line for my race, next game, by the end of the season, whatever have you. Those are what we're talking about with time frame. So we're at the beginning of a year, beginning of a season, perfect time to start setting some goals. So first off, I'm going to start with some goals for the channel that I want to try to achieve. Hopefully they're not too ambitious. So here's to hoping. That first goal is I want to try to get 5,000 followers by the end of the year 2022. Now, if I don't think that's going to happen or I get that before, probably not going to happen at that, but we can then reevaluate. And that's something to keep in mind with your goals as you set them. Even if they're a little bit too small, if you achieve them, you then can readjust. You can reevaluate and go bigger. The second goal is going to be I want to average at least 3 videos by the time we get to April 18th, which that just so happens to be the Boston Marathon, which I'm going to be competing in, which brings us to my own personal goals, which I want to try to break 2:30 in the marathon, particularly at the Boston Marathon. So I got some time to go and do that. Also, I want to be able to break 67 minutes in the half marathon, and my tune-up race for that Boston Marathon is going to be in Fort Collins. It's going to be the spring equinox half marathon. So here's to hoping that I can do that as well on my way training for Boston. Also, my kids will be happy to hear about this. I want to break 4:45 in the Coach's Mile at Simplot this February. I'm already a little bit behind on training for that, but knowing how quick I used to be, I think since I'm still pretty young, I can still get that. So we'll see. And finally, with my last personal goal, I want to try to get 3,000 miles in this year of 2022. Now, as we go along this year, I'll keep you guys updated with kind of what's may or may not be a 3 blogs of a week for talking about me, as well as an occasional true coaching wild video as we move forward. Our next video is probably going to be about the schedule of what I ideally would like, what each day would in turn mean. So those of you that have liked and subscribed, if you haven't, go ahead and do so. Kind of what to expect when we release on certain days and what days we are going to release those specific videos on. But hopefully you guys can join me on this journey this year with making goals. I already know that I'm going to tell my kiddos today at practice that they need to start setting goals, not only for the season, but for this school year, so that we can try to make ourselves better than we were yesterday, because we've been doing all this work in the dark so that we can shine in the light. And as you know, that's the theme for this channel. So let's go out and let's shine in the light. Hopefully I see you out there running crazy. Bye, guys.